What is a self-directed IRA, and how is a self-directed IRA different than just a standard traditional IRA?
Yeah.
If that's even a thing.
So a self-directed IRA is one where the self-direct part is really taking the place of the fiduciary or financial advisor that's in place for many of the other IRAs. So when someone has a standard traditional Roth SEP simple IRA with a managed custodian, that custodian serving as a fiduciary or financial advisor, basically either choosing the specific investments that that retirement account invests into, or maybe giving you a limited list of different asset classes that they've already done due diligence on and thus will allow you to invest into. That's where you see some of those managed custodians kind of try to use the language of self-direction to try to kind of, for lack of a better term, manipulate people into thinking that they have a self-directed product. But a truly self-directed retirement account is one with an administrator like Advanta, where we simply follow the IRS's rules and regulations and let our clients basically invest into any asset class they would like. So that is to say, a client can come to us and say, hey, I want to go buy 123 Main Street down the road from my house as a rental property. Or, hey, I want to go issue a private loan to this other investor that I'm trying to help out. Or, hey, I want to go precious metals or cryptocurrency or set up an LLC. If you go with those type of assets, those alternative assets to a non-self-directed account, the custodian's basically going to say, no, you can't do that. Here's the index fund, here's stocks, bonds, mutual funds. This is what you can invest into. So that's what a self-directed account is. It's more freedom, flexibility, and your administrator, like in Advanta's case, is there to keep you in line with the IRS's rules and regulations and really be experts in what that is so that we can guide you appropriately from that standpoint, but let you take your own control and guide yourself as to what investments and your own due diligence that you want to participate through.
Yeah, and you guys have saved me plenty of times from stuff that I wanted to do, and that's not wasn't allowed by the IRS. So tell me, we're talking about 123 Main Street. Let's use that as an example. Say that I have set up an self-directed IRA account. I run into 123 Main Street. My LLC wants to buy it, and my IRA wants to put up the funds. Is that possible, or what are some of the restrictions in that case, or how could I buy 123 Main Street if I was wanting to use my IRA fund, self-directed IRA funds?
So just a quick point of clarification, Eric, is your LLC owned through your IRA, or that's a separate entity completely from your IRA account? Because LLCs can be held in an IRA. I just need to make that distinction.
No, completely separate. So the two don't know each other. The only the connecting factor is that I'm both the single member owner of the LLC, and I'm of course the beneficiary of the IRA account.
Okay, got it. So to answer your question, you can't necessarily do what you just described because of IRS rules, and I'll explain those thoroughly. And there's also a workaround to really accommodate almost the same action plan and strategy within the IRS rules. So the way the IRS rules are stated, your retirement account can't put a down payment on behalf of yourself or your LLC to purchase a piece of real estate. It has to be co-invested at the outset of the investment, where the dollar amount that the retirement account brings to the table is going to take a commensurate percentage of ownership in the actual asset. So that's to say, if you need to split it 80% by your LLC or you personally and 20% from your retirement account, it can't go in as a down payment to be reimbursed. It has to go in as an 80-20 split on that property, where the deed of title is going to list the retirement account holding that 20% ownership. And moving forward with that deal, any expenses that have to go out have to be paid based on that ownership split, and any income generated has to be divided by that income split. So your IRA is going to receive 20% of all income that it generates and pay out all 20% of the expenses that come up. The only other aspect really in that grand scheme scenario is if you're going to be utilizing leverage. So let's just say for your 80% of taking down that property, you also might need to take out a loan or, leverage the asset to do so. That's perfectly fine, but there are some extra stipulations. Anytime a retirement account's involved in the purchase of real estate, what's required, even if the retirement account's not going to be the borrower, just because the retirement account's on the deed of title and ownership is that there is non-recourse lending terms in place. And also with that in mind, in effect, there is at that point the opening of the IRA being subject to UDFI tax, or unrelated debt financed income tax. So those are some key factors when someone just brings up the general scenario that you just have, that I very thoroughly go through and make sure these people understand, so that they're doing the modifications to their underwriting and to the plan for that deal, because the non-recourse lending and the UDFI tax are going to change the grand scope of your income profile once that deal is actually underway. So if it makes that much of a change that that deal is no longer feasible for you, understood. If not, great, move forward with the deal. But again, that's part of the investor's due diligence as a self-directed account holder.
Awesome. So I guess if I understand that correctly, in simple words, for just a simple guy like myself, if my IRA was to purchase 123 Main Street solely, that will be an option as well. What I could, how I could buy the property just with my IRA.
Yeah, you could buy it just with your IRA. You could buy it with your IRA partnering with yourself or other individuals or other IRAs. The main thing there is, in most cases, that's going to be a cash purchase where leverage is not involved. If leverage comes into play, then you're adding the additional ripple or effect of non-recourse lending having to be applied, and the UDFI tax having to be associated with the leveraged portion of the investment. But otherwise, your IRA and any partners it chooses to transact with can go out and buy properties cash, hold them for rental properties, use additional proceeds in those various accounts or based on those ownerships to do fix and flips. There's a lot of different strategies you could partake in.